Sandra K grew up in houses in Michigan. She spent 19 married years living in apartments in Indiana and discovered the thrill and disasters of home ownership at the age of 39 when she and her children moved to Tampa, Florida. In tonight's presentation, she will fulfill the requirements for speech number 3, Make Them Laugh, in the advanced manual, The Entertaining Speaker, by explaining how to troubleshoot and repair a toilet. Speaker number 2. Thank you.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I moved to Tampa, Florida on April Fool's Day, 1990, escaping a nasty ex-husband and nasty Fort Wayne, Indiana climate. After 8 months of living with my parents, with my furniture stacked in their garage, I moved into my first house, a 1980 ranch decorated in 1970s colors of brown and gold. I had harvest gold shag carpeting, harvest gold tile, wallpaper, countertops, appliances, and porcelain fixtures. The home inspector assured me that aside from a roof that might need to be replaced in a year or two, all else in the home was copacetic. I was queen of the perfect castle, right? The first time I sat on my golden throne, it pivoted and tilted so violently, I landed on the floor. I went over, picked up the bolt cover, and discovered that the bolts were, what kind of a fool doesn't tighten the toilet bolts? So I wrenched that sucker down. That toilet was going nowhere, right? Next time I sat, the toilet bucked me into the wall. Have you ever ridden on a mechanical bowl? This piece of porcelain had the moves down cold. Crawled back again. I checked the bolts, tightened up, but teeter-totter toilet still rocked on. I jammed popsicle sticks under that seat, rocking it back and forth and tucking them in until that pot sat tight. 2 days later, when I sat, popsicle sticks shot out from under that toilet like single toy shrapnel. That toilet quivered beneath me like a rocket ship on a launching pad and launched me dead straight out the bathroom door. I went back and drained the toilet, lifted it, and determined the reason why riding that toilet was such a moving experience. The sewer pipe rose straight from the ground and floated midair. What kind of fool does not attach the sewer flange to the floor? I had to take care of my facilities problem until I could repair the pipe. So I carried the toilet out to the backyard and set it on a patch of sand about 10 feet from the back door. Guess what? It no longer rocked, but it also no longer flushed. And for privacy reasons, I could only use it at night as long as the moon wasn't too full. I got a drill and a mortar bit, and I started drilling holes for that flange, my face inches away from the rag-stuffed pipe. Drill, drill, drill. What would happen if the neighbor's toilet backed up and came up my pipe? Drill, drill, drill. What would happen if that toilet pipe decided to burp up some sewer gas? Drill, drill, drill. What toxic fumes was I breathing that I couldn't even smell? It was enough to make me consider using my outdoor outhouse, open-air outhouse, a permanent solution. Especially since I had figured out how to solve the privacy issue by putting a ring of 4-foot-high laundry racks around it and covering them over with sheets. I could use that out potty anytime nature called. I finally got all the holes drilled. I finally got the flange screwed to the floor, and I brought the toilet back in. I sat it down and I bolted it down. I had it fixed, right? A couple days later, I sat and I felt that toilet slide just a hair to the north, and I'm like, okay. Yanked that toilet back up, took it back outside. This time I was going to really get it. I loosened the flange up a little bit, got some concrete and my table knife, and started driving concrete underneath that flange, packing and packing and packing, screwing it down till all the concrete oozed out, and then building a collar up around it to hold it steady. And then I let it dry for a couple days. And when it was all set, I brought that toilet back in, and I set it down and bolted it down. I stared at the toilet, and it stared back at me. And I thought, did I get that thing fixed yet? And I knew. That toilet was not happy with me, but no matter how much it sulked, I knew what it was thinking. I knew that no matter what I did, over time, days, weeks, that concrete was going to crumble away. And that I would be sitting on that toilet, again, risking life and limb, hanging on for dear life, worried about whether I was going to get whiplash or break a bone. So I removed the toilet again, put it in the backyard, and I went to the store and came back, and I said, okay. People will tell you you can fix anything with duct tape. Okay? Duct tape is good for a lot of things. But if you really want to make sure that a wandering toilet stops wandering, you don't use duct tape. You glue the toilet to the floor with liquid nails. Then you can sit on that toilet like a queen for a century. That toilet never moved again. A decade later, when the plumber showed up to remove the toilet for a bathroom remodel, actually it was 2 decades later, he had to use a jackhammer. And he also kept making nasty little comments about what kind of fool installs a toilet using liquid nails. And I mumbled things about wallpaper that was welded to unprimed sheetrock. You ever put wallpaper on unprimed sheetrock, it doesn't come off. About a vent fan in the kitchen that blew air into a box in the cupboard but not outside. And about a nice brown carpet in the living room that had been dyed brown with shoe polish, all things that my dear inspector friend had missed. The plumber finally got that toilet loose, but that toilet did not go without protest. Because when it finally loosed up, it took up half the tile floor with it and sent all the shards pouring down the hole. And I swear that toilet flapped its seat at me as it left the house. I'm sure that it was cursing at me in toilet, telling me all the things it was unhappy about. I know in the end I won. My toilet had the last word. My golden throne had the last words. But I am too much of a lady to repeat them.